Hello everyone, here is the most awaited report of the year, RBI Annual Report 2025. So we'll be having discussion related to this report in this particular video. I'll be covering all the key highlights from the report. Plus, we will also be soon having MCQ sessions, descriptive writing sessions around these reports. Okay, let's get the discussion started. If you are preparing for your RBI Grade B examination, you can check out our course and you can start your journey with us. You can also download this application and you will get the report, this particular PDF plus PDF related to all the YouTube session on our Oliveboard application. You can also start practicing the previous year questions as well by downloading the PYQ PDF. Plus, on every Wednesday I take a session related to finance PYQ, so you can join that as well. Okay, so let's quickly start the report. First, let's discuss about the background. So in RBI report, we are having everything, whatever happened in the entire year related to RBI, related to the economy, right? So we'll be discussing about the state of Indian economy as of now, working of the RBI, policy development, financial trends, monetary and fiscal updates as well, right? So it includes RBI's financial accounts as well, right? So we'll be discussing about the RBI's financial statements as well in the एंड ऑफ द वीडियो. ओके, सो वीडियो के एंड तक बने रहिएगा, वहां पे हम काफी सारा अकाउंटिंग और फाइनेंस रिलेटेड डिस्कशन भी करने वाले, दैट कैन बी डेफिनेटली इंपॉर्टेंट फॉर योर एग्जामिनेशन एज वेल. ओके, द फर्स्ट थिंग टू नोट हियर इज द रिपोर्ट इज पब्लिश्ड अंडर सेक्शन 53 subsection 2 of the RBI Act 1934, and here we can see it also on the second page of the report itself. It is stated that as per section 53 subsection 2 of the Reserve Bank of India, the RBI has submitted the report to the central government here, right? So this is a 300 plus page report. This is a 300 plus page report. So obviously most of the students are very concerned about these reports. Sir, कैसे cover करेंगे? How we will be covering? क्या पढ़ना है, कितना पढ़ना है, क्या सर पूरी रिपोर्ट पढ़नी है? This particular report I will advise you कि आप इसको अच्छे से पढ़ सकते हो, right? However, considering the number of pages, so it's 300 plus pages. So what you can do here is you can divide it in 5 to 10 pages daily. If you are able to read close to 10 pages a day, you can easily complete this entire report in 30 to 35 days. Obviously, if you take 5 days, 5 pages daily, then definitely the time will be double. So I advise you to read at least 5 to 10 pages so that you can conclude this report in 30-40 days easily, right? And I will advise you कि आप इसको आराम से पढ़ो, अच्छे से पढ़ो. Don't take stress about it. In a summarized manner, we will be covering here itself in today's video. I'll tell you all the highlights. I'll be definitely taking the MCQ sessions as well. We'll be practicing descriptive questions from the concepts that are used in the report as well. That's for sure. However, I will advise you guys to please practice this. 5 to 10 pages daily is not at all a big thing, right? And plus, if you read this report very well, it will definitely help you in the descriptive examination as well. We do have a 50% weightage in FM section for descriptive as well, so definitely it will help you for writing the descriptive questions as well. Okay, and there are a lot of boxes also in between. In the index you can see the boxes as well. You need to read those boxes as well. Okay, that will give you that will create a knowledge base for you, that you can use those lines, those keywords in your descriptive answer writing questions as well, right? Plus, what we need to do here is, let's suppose you are reading 10 pages daily. So what will happen? You will conclude this thing in 30 days. 10 pages daily, which sum up to become 300 pages, right? So do one thing. If you are studying on day one a new topic, new 10 pages, try to make summary notes as well on the same day itself. This PDF will be available to you on the Oliveboard application definitely. However, I will advise you to make summary notes of this particular report on your own as well, right? So let's suppose you did 10 pages, you read 10 pages on day one. Now on day 2, what you need to do is do the new things, the new 10 pages of day 2 plus the summary notes of day 1. In this manner you can do the compounding of your knowledge as well. And when you are on the day 3, what you need to do is new 10 pages plus day 1 and day 2 summary notes. And that's how knowledge works. That's how knowledge built us, like compound interest, right? So you need to study these reports in this manner. Don't worry at all. This report is not a new thing for you guys. It's just a compilation of all the finance current affairs, RBI circular related things, RBI related news in one document. So ऐसा नहीं है कि यहाँ पे सब कुछ नया है. ये compilation ये है. If you have done the finance current affairs, if you are updated with the RBI news, definitely इसके अंदर से majority of the चीजें वही की वही आने वाली है जो आप लोगों को पता है. This is just a consolidated document, so don't worry at all कि ये कोई नया पेज आपको पढ़ना है 300 पेज. नो, नए पर्सपेक्टिव से पढ़ना है इसको. मेजरली इसके अंदर से सारी चीजें हम पढ़ चुके हैं, राइट? इफ यू हैव कवर्ड द न्यूज, डेफिनेटली आपने ये वाला कवर कर रखा है. नाउ it is being a letter is there here which is addressed to the finance secretary of the government of India. So this report is being sent to the finance secretary as well. Okay, we can see that section number is section 53 subsection 2 of the RBI Act 1934. Please do remember this particular section. It can be important from examination perspective. It can be also important from in interview perspective as well, right? This shows how much you are really aware, how much how diligently you read the reports and all, right? So the first thing in the report is assessment of year 24-25. So whatever happened in the 24-25 year, they have given you in this assessment. So whatever things are there in the report, it's a, I should not say summary, but yeah, it's a detailed documentation of whatever happened in 24-25. So entire report summary is this assessment, right? And they do have shared some prospects as well related to financial year 25-26 as well, right? So this assessment is of 24-25. They do have shared their prospects as well of financial year 2026, like what things are expected in the future. Okay, so we can see here that the global economic outlook, the growth has slowed to 3.3% here. We can see that the according to the IMF, the global growth is 3.3%, right? That's the global growth. Okay, because of there are some structural changes, like there is a weak investment and productivity. अब इन्वेस्टमेंट कम है, प्रोडक्टिविटी कम है, तो डेफिनेटली ग्रोथ यहाँ पे सफर करेगी. जियोपॉलिटिकल टेंशंस, there are a lot of geopolitical tensions which are going on, right? High debt, sluggish recovery in China and Asia or Europe, right? So these are the issues that are contributing towards the low global growth, right? Global inflation has eased to 5.7% from 6.6%, and that's good. In India also inflation has now cooled down a bit, right? Global merchandise exports grew by 2.9% after 2023's negative 1%. So there is a 2.9% growth in the global merchandise as well. If I talk about financial condition, definitely it has eased a bit. Major central banks have turned accommodative from mid 2024. So this is just a brief background of whatever things happened in 2024-2025, right? Risk ahead, there is a risk of disinflation losing the momentum. Geopolitical fragmentation and trade protectionism, we all know that trade war चल रहा है, right? Geopolitical issues चल रहे हैं, and disinflation can lose the momentum. Now there is a term disinflation. Okay, I'll try to explain the terms as well. Okay, so for many of you these terms might be new, so we'll be definitely having the discussion regarding that as well. Let's suppose this is 0% inflation. Here it is 1%, 2%, 3%, 4% positive numbers, right? And here it is on the left hand side, it's -1, -2, -3%, and so on, negative numbers, right? If we are on this side, we are heading towards inflation, right? If we are on the left hand side, we are heading towards deflation, not disinflation, deflation. Sir, what do you mean by disinflation then? Disinflation means slowdown in the rate of inflation. Let's suppose we were having an inflation of 4%. However, now the rate has slowed down to 1%. So this we can call as disinflation. We can call this as disinflation. The rate of growth in inflation is now quite low, right? So earlier 4% से चीजें महंगी हो रही थी, अब 1% से ही हो रही है. So we can call it as disinflation. That means we are still on the positive side. The prices of the things are still growing, however they are growing at a much lesser pace than earlier, right? So that's disinflation, and the name says it all, disinflation. So inflation is becoming slow here, right? That's not at all deflation. We are not entering the negative territory as of now. We are on the positive side as well. So prices are still rising, but not with the same pace, right? India's macroeconomic performance. India remained the fastest growing major economy despite of the global headwinds. So we can see here in the annual report as well that India remained the fastest growing economy. Why? Because our real GDP growth is still 6.5% here, right? The real GDP growth here is still 6.5%, and we can see the GVA numbers, gross value added numbers as well. I'll soon discuss these numbers as well, but in chart format. So there are a lot of charts as well incorporated in this report. We will try to remember the data from the charts, because via graphical presentation we tend to remember more and more things, right? However, charts are good for remembering the data, right, for the MCQ purpose. Still we need to read this report. Why? Because it will level you up for your descriptive questions, right? You can easily attempt descriptive questions, you can get keywords, you can get some lines, some common lines that you can use in questions, right? Let's suppose if I talk about inflation, if I talk about financial inclusion, financial markets, right? So there are some boxes, there are some lines in this report that can help you. You can use those lines in any general question related to it, right? So I highly suggest you to please read this report, right? Majority of the students won't be reading this report. They will just watch some videos on YouTube and they will close the report. However, this will give you a competitive edge. If you read this report very well along with your preparation, then definitely it will give you a competitive edge, because here you will get majority of the keywords. You will get some common lines as well that you can use in descriptive. It will definitely level up your game, right? So labor market related, there is a shift from agriculture, rise in the employment in services, construction and trade. Climate performance, again India ranked top 10 of the climate change performance index. So that's again great for the 6th consecutive year. So India has ranked in the top 10 of the climate change. So these all things I am reading as of now from the assessment of 2024-2025. Definitely we'll be having a look in detail as well related to these things, but as of now I'm just reading the assessment for the year 24-25. That will give us a quick summary of the entire report, right? Then if we talk about inflation and monetary policy, the headline, CPI inflation moderated to 4.6% from 5.4% earlier, right? 4.6% is the headline inflation as of now. There is data related to core inflation, food inflation, fuel inflation also. Policy stance, they shifted to a policy stance of neutral. Now we are on the accommodative. However, this report is restricted to 31st March 2025, right? So in the recent policy cut, RBI has moved the stance from neutral to accommodative again, right? There was a policy repo rate cut as well of 25 basis point. That was a first repo cut since February 2023. So it happened in February 2025. If I talk about the liquidity trends, then overall surplus was there, turned deficit in December to March due to cash crunch or forex operations, right? We all know that there was a liquidity issue from December to March. Okay, we'll be discussing about that as well. Then financial markets and currency. So government securities and corporate bond yield declined. Why the yield declined? Because of the rising interest. Because of the rising interest of people in bonds, corporate bonds and government bonds. So when the demand of these corporate bonds increases, obviously the price of these bonds will also increase, right? Demand and price will go hand in hand. If the demand increases, the price will also increase. And when the price increases, then the yield of these bonds decreases, right? We have studied in the paid class as well, on the YouTube sessions as well, that there is an inverse relationship between the price and the yield of the bonds, right? Equity hits a record high again, corrected later on due to GDP earnings slowdown and tariff risk. There was a huge risk related to trade tariffs imposed by the US, right? INR depreciated again. RBI, however, controlled it. RBI has aggressively used multiple operations to control it. We'll be also discussing about that as well. RBI promoted INR use in the cross-border settlement as well. So look, we are reading here the broad points, right? Now you can download this PDF and you can start writing on your thoughts as well, right? Let's suppose INR depreciated. So what was the main reason because of which the INR depreciated, and how do India countered it? How do RBI countered that thing, right? RBI promoted INR use in the cross-border trade settlement. Write few things about UPI, how it helped in internationalization of rupee as well, right? From which countries we have signed agreement for the UPI related things, right? So you can start writing those things here itself. So at the end of the day, after just before the examination, you can just have a quick look to in this PDF, and definitely you can at a glance see all the information, right? If I talk about fiscal developments, then center's fiscal deficit reduced to 4.7% of the GDP from 5.5%, right? The gross fiscal deficit declining to 4.7% of the GDP in 2025, right? Capex grew by 5.2% over the high basis. So we are having a lot of data in this report, right? So that's why I'm telling you to go slowly, read 10 pages a day, 5 to 10 pages, not more than that. That's again fine, right? If I talk about external sector, then merchandise exports are again flat. Imports grew by 6.2%. Trade deficit, current account deficit, forex reserves. There is a lot of data in this report, guys, right? And we need to remember the broad things here. I'll be also taking MCQ sessions for this report as well, right? So there is data related to banking and NBFC sector as well. The scheduled commercial banks gross NPA were at 2.8%. Net NPA and slippage ratio declined. CRAR was being maintained at 16.8% and buffers were quite high. Basically the balance sheets remain strong, right, of the scheduled commercial banks. NBFC's credit grew in the double digits, so there was growth in the credit side. Asset quality and profitability also increased. Overall, the bank's stability and the balance sheet size is in the upward direction only, right? If I talk about fintech, payment and digital initiatives, then RBI has also started pushing the CBDC, central bank digital currency, right? So 60 lakh users, 70 banks are now supporting offline and programmable features as well. Wholesale CBDC also expanded to the primary dealers, standalone primary dealers as well, right? We can see here in the annual report also. UPI is also 48.5% of the global real-time payment volume, so the volume is quite high, right? And the new initiatives, some of the new initiatives were deregulated, delegated payment, and exclusive domains like bank.in and fin.in. So we have also discussed about this finance current affair as well related to bank.in and fin.in. So I've already told you guys that the annual report is nothing but majorly a summation, a compilation of all the finance current affairs, all the news related to RBI, plus few more things that we need to study, right? So it will be definitely a great revision thing for you guys if you read this report very well, okay? So we can see here that many of the initiatives are also mentioned in this report, like monitoring the use and adoption of technology in financial ecosystem. Fintech repository was again a new initiative which was launched on May 2024, right? Simultaneously, a related repository for regulated entities, the MTech repositories, was also launched, and they have also focused on emerging technologies like AI, ML and distributed ledger technologies. And RBI Innovation Hub, you must be knowing each and everything about this particular entity, RBI Innovation Hub, okay? It was quite in limelight as well. They have mentioned about green finance as well and climate actions. So green bonds were issued, again support to renewable energy via priority sector lending guidelines. They were again revised, right? Priority sector lending guidelines. Then PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana, so rooftop solar panels for 10 lakh households, right? Green steel, critical mineral mission launch. So these all are the summary pointers related to green finance. Financial literacy and financial inclusion. They have mentioned about financial index, so it has again improved for March 2024. For 2025, the data is yet to be released, right? Financial literacy, women prosperity was the financial literacy week theme. So all the things are here summed up, okay, broadly in the initial few pages of the report. You can see, right? International cooperation. So Project Nexus, we have also studied this. Project Nexus for fast cross-border payments and push the local currency settlements as well, right? So Project Nexus, domain name change, fin.in and bank.in. That's a compulsion for cyber security thing, right? The global outlook. So the global growth is expected to remain below the historical average of 3.7%. So these are prospects for 25-26. Okay, we have discussed the things related to 24-25. Now they have given us the prospects related to the upcoming financial year कि अभी इसके अंदर क्या ग्रोथ रहने वाला है, राइट? सो यहाँ पे रिस्क दे रखे हैं, पॉलिसी फोकस दे रखा है कि आपको यहाँ पे मोर कॉशियस रहना पड़ेगा. ग्रोथ ड्राइवर्स क्या होंगे आपके? प्राइवेट कंजम्पशन होंगे. Growth drivers will be private consumption, healthy corporate and bank balance sheets, which is already in place, right? And things like that. Then the risk factor is global volatility due to tariff wars, geopolitical tensions and financial market. So susceptible global shock, right? So these are some of the risks that are stated. Then we do have external sector related things like CAD. It is expected to remain manageable. So the current account deficit, as per the expectation, can remain manageable itself within the range as well. Supportive factor, strong service export. We all know that in India a lot of KPOs are there and definitely they are supporting the service exports, right? They are bringing a lot of foreign currency also. Resilient inward remittances and free trade agreement with 14 plus countries as of now, and going talks with US, European Union, Oman and Peru as well, right? So the first we discussed about everything related to 24-25. Then there were prospects that are being shared in the annual report related to 25-26, and now they have in detail given these particular segments of economic review. So let's discuss about economic review. The best part is in the annual report they have started using these para, right? So you can at a glance have a broad trend of whatever happening is there, right? So if I talk about economic review, then Indian economy exhibited here resilience. So Indian economy remained strong in 24-25, supported by the robust macroeconomic fundamentals and proactive policy measures. Headline inflation moderated, although the pace of disinflation was a bit slow, right? Deposit and credit exhibited a double-digit growth. We have already discussed regarding the deposits and credit. So NBFC credit also grew by double-digit, right? Fiscal consideration continued both at center and state level. The continued strength of the external sector as reflected in the adequate forex reserves as well, and a modest current account deficit, right? Supported by the macroeconomic and financial stability. सर ये पढ़ने से क्या होता है? तो एक ब्रॉड ट्रेंड पता चलता है. देखो, पूरी चीज ढंग से समझने से पहले एक ब्रॉड ट्रेंड पता चल जाना चाहिए, इसलिए पैरा में समराइज करके देते हैं. ये चीज आपको पता होनी चाहिए. इनसे आपको डिस्क्रिप्टिव क्वेश्चन के अंदर भी लिखने में हेल्प मिलेगी, राइट? If you read this stuff, you will know how to write in the examination. Otherwise, it's very difficult to write the descriptive papers, right? Okay, so I have summarized most of the things for you here, guys. The real GDP growth rate moderated to 6.5% here. Okay, so the real GDP moderated to 6.5 for the financial year 24-25. India still remained the fastest growing economy. We already discussed this thing in the initial pages as well, right? So initial pages are important. You might feel them boring कि सर ये इतने सारे पेजेस पढ़ने पड़ रहे हैं एंड ऑल, बट दे आर अ समरी ऑफ द एंटायर फाइनेंशियल ईयर, राइट. उसके अंदर से अगर आपने शॉर्ट नोट्स बना लिए इस तरह के, so definitely it will help. And what you can do is download this PDF, print it and make the notes on this particular document as well, because आधे तो इसके अंदर बने हुए हैं. So why you will do again a मेहनत, right? So better है कि आप इसको डाउनलोड करो, प्रिंट करो और इसी के ऊपर बनाने नोट्स चालू कर दो, एक्स्ट्रा चीजें जो आपको याद रखनी है, right? So here we can see the real GDP growth as well. Earlier in 23-24 it was 9.2, however this year it is just 6.5, right? 24-25 financial year में it has slowed down a bit to 6.5%, right? Then real GVA means gross value added. So what is basically gross value added? It is nothing but it's a measure of the value of goods and services produced in the economy, and that too after subtracting for the cost of input and raw material used in the production. So it's a measure of what real value we have added, okay, what real value we have added. So GVA, real GVA, we can see that agriculture is 4.6%, from industry it is 4.3%, and from services it is 7.5%, right? In the industry the manufacturing softened post Q1 के बाद से थोड़ा सा मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के अंदर इश्यूज आने लग गए. कंस्ट्रक्शन इसके अंदर हाईएस्ट रहा था सर्विस के अंदर, राइट. सो इफ आई टॉक अबाउट द ईयर ऑन ईयर ग्रोथ रेट ऑफ रियल GVA ग्रोथ, राइट. सो हियर वी कैन सी दैट एग्रीकल्चर इंक्रीज्ड. सो दिस इज द फाइनेंशियल ईयर 2024 का डेटा 2.7 एंड दिस इज द करंट 24-25 का डेटा. सो एग्रीकल्चर के अंदर ग्रोथ है 2.7% से 4.6% है. इंडस्ट्री की अगर मैं बात करूं, सो देयर इज अ बिग डिक्लाइन, 50% से ज्यादा डिक्लाइन हो चुका है. 11 से कितना हो चुका है, 4.3 हो चुका है. दैट्स अ ह्यूज डिक्लाइन, राइट. सो वी नीड टू नो द नंबर हियर प्लस द ड्राइविंग रीजन बिहाइंड द नंबर. सो व्हाट्स ड्राइविंग दिस नंबर? मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. In industry, manufacturing has created a problem. You can see that 12.3% was the figure of 2024, and as of now it is just 4.3% here, right? So it's a huge decline. Next, if I talk about service, so there is slight decline in services as well. Earlier it was 9.2, as of now it is 7.5 here, right? So construction again थोड़ा सा डिक्लाइन है यहाँ पे. प्लस अगर मैं बात करूँ पब्लिक एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन एंड डिफेंस एंड अदर सर्विसेज की, so it is 8.8 in financial year 2024. It is still 8.8 in financial year 2025 as well, right? And broadly we can see that the majority of the contribution from the real GVA we are getting from services, and there is a huge decline in industry due to manufacturing activity. Okay, so do remember this thing, right? Because of the slowdown in the manufacturing activity. Next is aggregate supply. So measured by the real aggregate supply basically is measured by the gross value added only. So we have seen that it has expanded by 6.4% only as compared to the 8.6%. So this is a screenshot from the annual report itself, right? Try to remember these data by having a look at these charts, right? Because it's well organized in these charts. Let's suppose I'm writing this data here. One student is reading from here and another student is reading from here. Definitely the one who is reading from the charts will get a better long lasting memory, right? So try to read the data from the charts instead of the report itself, and try to read the descriptive things. Try to read a lot of stuff from the report so that it helps you in the descriptive examination, right? If I talk about labor market, then urban employment has improved. Urban के अंदर employment जो improve हुआ है. Agriculture employment क्या हुआ है? Decline हुआ है. Okay. Inflation trend. So the headline inflation moderate to an average of 4.6% here. So the average CPI inflation was 4.6%. Core inflation was 3.5%. Food inflation was at a high of 6.7%, right? It also peaked to 9.7% in October 2024. However, things are quite low now. If I talk about inflation, you all know the current data. right? And do let me know in the comment section related to the CPI inflation data of April 2025. Okay. Fuel inflation was again negative at that time, minus 2.5%, right? Minus 2.5%. So here is a chart related to inflation. What we can see, what we can conclude from this chart is the two lines you can see on this chart are highly volatile. Volatile मतलब बहुत ज़्यादा broad lines बन रही है. कौन सी दो lines है? Can you tell me in the comment section? Which are the two lines? कौन से color की दो lines है? That are highly volatile. We can see a high level of volatility. Let me know in the comment section quickly. The line are, एक तो ये रेड कलर वाली लाइन हो गई फ्यूल एंड लाइट, और ग्रीन कलर वाली लाइन हो गई फूड एंड बेवरेजेस, राइट? So that's why we compute core inflation, guys. You can see the volatility, right? So core inflation is excluding the volatility items, volatility wale items like food and beverages and fuel, right? That's why we compute core inflation, so that we can know the real reason. If we separate the volatility from the crowd, what is the real reason that drives the number? You can see the level of volatility we are having in the food and fuel prices, right? Then we can see the CPI headline inflation. The average is 4.6%. Earlier it used to be 5.4%. Now it is 4.6%. That's also good, right? The inflation is in declining trend. The driver of inflation, we can see here. What are the drivers of inflation? What do we mean by the driving numbers? What constitutes inflation majorly? Right, so I can see that this green bar, ये सबसे बड़ा है, right? So food and beverages constitutes the highest amount of inflation. Because of this, inflation is a big number, right? The constituent जो सबसे बड़ा नंबर आता है इन्फ्लेशन में, वो कौन सा आता है? फूड एंड बेवरेजेस का आता है. That we can conclude from this chart, right? So this gives us a photographic memory. अब आप ये लोग भूलोगे नहीं अगर आपने ढंग से पढ़ा है ये चीज. एक बार आपने अच्छे से देख लिया चार्ट तो हमेशा आपके माइंड में रहेगा कि अच्छा सर फूड एंड बेवरेजेस वाला सबसे बड़ा पोर्शन रहता है, राइट? एंड यू कैन इजीली रिमेंबर द नंबर्स एज वेल हियर. जब आप चार्ट से बार बार देखते हो, पढ़ते हो, तो एक तो बोर नहीं होते, राइट? अभी एक रिपोर्ट खोल के पढ़ूंगा तो आप लोग बोर हो जाओगे, पर जब चार्ट से पढ़ूंगा तो थोड़ा सा इंटरेस्टिंग लगेगा, राइट? एंड यू नीड टू डू दिस ऑन योर ओन एज वेल. सिर्फ वीडियो देखने से काम नहीं चलेगा. एग्जाम के अंदर वीडियो देख के काम नहीं करना है, आपको खुद को लिखना भी है डिस्क्रिप्टिव में, राइट? ऑब्जेक्टिव तो चलो समझ में आता है, वीडियो देखने से मैनेज हो जाता है. However, if I talk about the descriptive, then you need to do the writing practice as well. And the more you read, the better your knowledge base becomes, right? The better your knowledge base is, the better you can write in the examination, right? Then let's talk about monetary policy operation. So in 24-25, the headline inflation exhibit a gradual easing with a path of disinflation, right? We all know what disinflation is all about. Earlier we were on, this is disinflation, right? Earlier we were on 5.4% inflation. Now we are on 4.6% inflation. So that's nothing but disinflation only, right? So that's nothing but disinflation here, right? So we were on the path of the disinflation, interrupted by volatile and elevated food inflation. We already have seen that there is a high level of volatility in the food inflation, right? The Monetary Policy Committee has also changed the stance from withdrawal of accommodative to neutral, and as of now, as per the recent data, they are now again on the accommodative stance, right? We all know that. Okay. So they have slashed the repo rate as well. It's written here again. There was a slash in the repo rate by I think in April, right? April 2025. Okay, so to ease the potential liquidity stress, cash reserve ratio for banks was also reduced. I hope you remember that in December 2024 it was slashed twice, right? for injecting the durable liquidity. Do let me know in the comment section what do you mean by durable liquidity, and that can be important from your examination perspective as well. Do let me know in the comment section what do you guys mean by durable liquidity. ठीक है, ड्यूरेबल लिक्विडिटी का क्या मतलब होता है, मुझे कमेंट सेक्शन में जरूर बताइएगा. राइट, so there was a repo rate cut. The policy stance was neutral. The liquidity, if I talk about, since there was a surplus in July to November, deficit in December to March 2025 due to currency leakage and forex operations as well, right? And RBI has used a lot of tools like open market operations, variable repo rate auctions, right? A forex swap, CRR cut, right? So we need to know each and everything about these operations, right? We can see here in the chart as well, they have started cutting the repo rate as of now, right? So काफी लंबे टाइम तक ये repo rate यहाँ पे constant रही है. उसके बाद now they have started cutting the repo rate, right? अभी एक और कट हुआ था in the month of April 2025. Okay, we can also have a look at the advanced economy. So this is the policy rate easing, okay, data of the advanced economy as well as the emerging market economy. So we have slashed the repo rate by 25 basis points, and this is the data of all the other countries as well who have started cutting the interest rates, right? Or maybe have started increasing the interest rate as per their economic stance, right? Okay, so in this particular annual report, we are having so many boxes as well, right? So the box related to liquidity management challenges from the forex market operation, you need to read these boxes. You will get certain keywords, you will get some lines that you can use in the descriptive question as well, right? Descriptive answer writing session as well. So I will also definitely bring some descriptive question session practice session for you guys, so that you can know how to incorporate those lines in your actual answer. Okay. Okay, so here is an interesting data, policy corridors and weighted average call rate. So do you guys know what is weighted average call rate? Have a look at here, why it suddenly shot up from this level. It was earlier on this level, right? Why it suddenly went up to 6.88%. Okay, do let me know in the comment section. I have covered this thing in the paid class as well. Okay, do let me know in the comment section what is the driving reason of this thing. And if you don't know, no problem at all, do let me know in the comment section. I'll bring a video and I'll definitely tell you in some other video related to this concept. Okay, so usually it happens in the liquidity crisis. Okay, do let me know in the comment section what are your thoughts on this. Credit delivery and financial inclusion, they have also mentioned about credit delivery and financial institutions. So RBI continued with its endeavor to deepen the financial inclusion in the country under the National Strategy for Financial Inclusion, NSFI. Steps were undertaken for the formulation of the next iteration of the NSFI for the period of 25 to 2030, right? So they have taken the steps for the formulation of a reiteration of the NSFI. RBI 90 quiz was also conducted, enhancing the financial literacy among the youth. Center for Financial Literacy was also scaled up for the phased manner, right? So these are the things related to financial inclusion. You can also mention about the financial inclusion index as well, right? That's again an important thing. So these all the things are there in the agenda. The NSFI for the period 2030, review of the priority sector lending guidelines, achieving 100% coverage in 50% districts across the country by March 2025. So these were things that were there in the agenda, right? And we can have a look at the financial inclusion index as well. It's on a uptrend, right? So as compared to 2023, the 2024 data was 64.2. okay, right? So we can see a increasing trend here. The data earlier was 60.1 and now as of now it is 64.2, right? And we can here see that the financial index is comprising of the access related to the financial inclusion, usage, and the quality, and we can see the weights as well, right? So they have given 35% weight to the access, 45% weight is given to the usage, and 20% is given to the quality here as well, right? So that's how FI index is computed. Next is the financial markets and foreign exchange market. So they have broadly stated here that the Reserve Bank of India continued its effort towards further strengthening the various segments of the financial market, broadening the participation, right? They have also promoted the INR internationalization, right? We have seen that they have did via UPI as well, promoting the INR towards internationalization of it, right? So we can see that the government securities and corporate bond yields were declining over the year. Corporate bond issuance increased due to low yields and strong investor demands. Equity market saw a high, so we hit an all-time high. Sensex and Nifty hit an all-time high in financial year 24-25, right? However, again they corrected due to global volatility in the FPI outflows. Monetary operations like open market operations, variable repo rate transactions, and forex swaps were used to manage the liquidity position and to stabilize the value of rupee as well, because dollar was strengthening day by day, right? So this was again one of the reason. Then if I talk about foreign exchange management, then INR depreciated mildly because RBI did a heavy intervention this time, and that's what brings me to the concept that we follow dirty float here. We don't follow free float or clean float, right? We are following here dirty float. That means our currency is determined due to demand and supply changes, however subject to some extent of RBI intervention as well, right? So initiatives to promote the INR in international trade and streamlining the forex regulations continued, and forex market turnover has increased with better use of the electronic trading platforms as well. So these were the major initiatives that we have taken, right? One of the initiative was expanding the access of NDS-OM. If you know the full form of NDS-OM platform, do let me know in the comment section. This is one of the most important concept that can come up in your examination, NDS-OM platform, right? And we have studied it in RBI circular in concept classes as well on YouTube, right? So these were some of the major initiatives. Next is related to payment and settlement system and information technology. So the volume growth was 34+%, digital payment growth. Value growth was 17, close to 18%, right? 17.9%. India retained the global leadership with 48.5% share in the global real-time payment, okay? And it was all UPI driven. We can see that UPI continued to scale in volume and merchant adoption as well. New features like delegated payment were introduced, right? That enables the primary user to authorize the secondary user as well. I hope you guys have idea about UPI circle, right? So this boosts the accessibility and inclusive digital payment growth. They have taken cybersecurity initiatives also, we have already discussed it, bank.in and fin.in, right? And the objective was to strengthen the cybersecurity related things, right? Fraud monitoring, so central payment fraud information registry coverage expanded to more and more banks, mandated the governance framework as well, right? If I talk about cross border, then do remember Project Nexus, a multilateral effort for to connect the fast payment system of India. So countries like Singapore, Malaysia, Philippines and Thailand have also participated in this effort, right? And the goal is to enable the instant cross-border payments across the member countries. And we can have a look at the digital payment index as well. It's straight up, right? From 445 to 465, we have jumped from March to September 2024, from 445 to 465, right? And as a personal advice, whenever you are writing a descriptive question, let's suppose you are writing something related to digital payment index, right? or you need to give the reference of digital payment, right? So in that you need to mention the data related to recent data related to digital payment index as well. Let's suppose if I am writing about UPI, then I'll definitely mention about digital payment index as well, right? Or if I am writing something about the growth in digital payment in India, then definitely I'll be quoting this number as well. Why? Because it increases the credibility of your answer. So that's how we need to link the static dynamic part, and we need to incorporate the data as well. Other governance and internal reforms were supervision initiatives, so supervisory data quality index, AIML related supervisory process, and cyber security related audit and offsite surveillance has also been discussed in this report. Audit management system के बारे में भी एक green box के अंदर given है, and they have talked about RBI at the rate 90 and RBI at the rate 100 vision launched with long-term reforms as well. So these things are other governance that are also mentioned in the report, right? So we have discussed about the entire report in a summarized manner, though few parts I haven't discussed. I will discuss this I'll discuss it gradually in my comment sessions related to MCQs and descriptive related to the annual report, right? One of the most important part of this report is RBI's accounts for financial year 2024-2025. So this is a key summary. You need to remember this. The size of the balance sheet increased by 8.2%. Please do remember it. The size of the balance sheet has increased by 8.2%. I'll also show you, right? We'll be having a look in the balance sheet and profit and loss account as well, because that's my favorite area being a chartered accountant, right? So it has increased by 8.2% year on year basis, while the income of the year has increased by 22.7% year on year, expenditure by 7.76%. So if I talk about the balance sheet size, it's 8.2%, income 22.77%, expense 7.76%, right? So this is the increase, and you need to remember it. I will advise you to please remember the balance sheet size as well, right? The year ended with an overall surplus of 2,69,590 crore as against the 2,10,000 something crore in the previous year, right? So there is an increase of 27% in the overall surplus as well. Okay. Here we can have a look on the trend of income, expenditure and net income and the surplus that is being transferred to the central government, right? So the trend is continuously increasing. The surplus that is transferred to the government is in increasing trend, and you can have a look from 2,10,000 to 2,68,590 crore. We have transferred to the central government. RBI has transferred to the central government. You can have a look at the income trend as well. Again, it's in uptrend, right? Obviously, in order to earn the income, the expenses also needs to be incurred. They are also in an uptrend. Net income is again also in a good uptrend, right? Here is the balance sheet of Reserve Bank of India, right? So at the same time, I would like to tell you a few things about the balance sheets that will be important for your course as well. Balance sheet is a statement of closing balances, right? We can also call it as financial position. This is a statement of financial position as on 31st March 2025. This is prepared on a particular date. That means it's a point of time statement. Sir, what do you mean by point of time statement? Look, I have prepared this on a particular date, 31st March 2025. The moment there is a difference of a single day, let's suppose I prepare it on 1st April, definitely the balances will change. Every day the balances are changing. Have a look at your bank account balance. Every day you are doing a UPI transaction and it's changing, right? So why not the balance sheet of RBI? The balance sheet of RBI is so bulky, it is having so many things on the asset side, on the liability side, that the value keeps on changing. So we need to create a balance sheet which is a point of time. ये एक point में है. एक ही डेट की है, पूरे साल की नहीं है. This is pertaining to 31st March, right? This is pertaining to 31st March. So please do remember these things. Assets are your valuable resource. That help you generate future economic benefit. Liabilities are your obligations, right? Why the balance sheet always match? We can see here that the asset side equal to the liability and capital side because of the dual aspect of accounting. Because of the accounting equation. What is the accounting equation? Asset is equal to liability plus capital, right? Asset is equal to liability plus capital. So here is our capital, here are our liabilities. So capital plus liability, this is the total, and this particular column is of the total of assets. So we can see that asset is equal to liability plus capital. Asset is equal to liability plus capital. That's my accounting equation, right? And that will always hold true, right? That will always hold true. Okay. So you can see that the balance sheet size has been increased from 70 lakhs to 76 lakhs, right? This is in crores, obviously, that's not lakhs. This is lakh crore, okay? We can see that there is an increase in the balance sheet size by 8.2% here, okay? And RBI balance sheet is always interesting. You can see note issued. Why note issued are coming in the liability side and they are increasing? So that means RBI has issued more and more notes in this particular year. Why it is a liability side, why it is a liability, do let me know in the description. If you don't know it, go to the Oliveboard channel's a short section. I have created a video on this, okay? A short video on this. This is the P&L account, or I can say income statement of the RBI, right? So income statement is also called as financial performance. Statement of financial performance, right? And it is prepared not on a point of time but for a period of time. यार सीधी सी बात है, बैलेंस शीट जब बना रहा हूं तो वो एक दिन पे बनाऊंगा, किसी दिन तो बनाऊंगा, पर P&L अकाउंट तो पूरे साल का बनेगा. आई विल प्रिपेयर इट फॉर द इंटायर ईयर, राइट? पूरे साल प्रॉफिट कमाया ना, बैलेंसेस पूरे साल एक ही थोड़ी रहे, वो तो एक दिन पे ऐसे रहे, पर प्रॉफिट तो पूरा साल कमाया, सेल्स तो पूरे साल करी, खर्चे तो पूरे साल किए. दैट्स व्हाई वी कॉल इट एज फॉर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, राइट? इट इज फॉर द पीरियड ऑफ टाइम, इट्स नॉट अ पॉइंट इन टाइम, okay? So we can see that we are earning income here and we are incurring expenditure, a lot of expenditure here, and the difference is surplus. We always call it as surplus, right? We don't call it as profit because RBI don't have a profit motive. It's surplus, okay? Then we are doing certain kind of transfers as well, right? And at last we transfer the surplus to the government, and that's what the figure is, 2.69 lakh crore, right? That we transferred this financial year to the government of India. Now these are schedules, okay? So we can see that a schedule, we can see the schedule numbers here in the balance sheet. In the deposit side, we can see that schedule 2. Why is it so? We also call them as notes to accounts. Look, I cannot write each and everything on the face of my balance sheet, right? I cannot do that. I cannot do that. Otherwise, it will make my balance sheet a bit messy, right? So we cannot write each and everything on the face of the balance sheet. Otherwise, it will make the balance sheet quite messy, right? So that's why we create explanatory note. We also call it schedules. We also call it as notes to accounts, right? So in the deposit side, we can see that RBI has taken deposits from central government, state government, बैंक से भी लिए हैं, राइट? फाइनेंशियल इंस्टीट्यूशन से भी लिए हैं और अदर्स से भी लिए हैं, राइट? फॉरेन सेंट्रल बैंक्स भी पैसा आरबीआई के अंदर पार्क करता है काफी बार, राइट? शेड्यूल 3 के अंदर हमारे पास रिवैल्यूएशन अकाउंट्स भी हैं. लेट सपोज आरबीआई इज होल्डिंग गोल्ड, ठीक है? तो 1000 पे मान लो गोल्ड बाय किया, वो 1 लाख का हो गया, सो इन दैट केस 20,000 का अप्रिसिएशन हो गया, राइट? सो आई कैन नॉट से कि मैंने प्रॉफिट अर्न कर लिया, दो द वैल्यू ऑफ गोल्ड हैज इंक्रीज्ड, सो आई कैन डेफिनेटली increase the value of asset, and similarly I'll create a reserve as well by the name of revaluation account, and we can see here that currency and gold revaluation account, right? It has also increased as compared to the previous year. That means the value of gold has been also increased, right? ये revaluation की वजह से बना है, गोल्ड बाय करने की वजह से नहीं बना है. तो अगर गोल्ड का, फॉरेक्स का, यूएस डॉलर का प्राइस बढ़ रहा है तो ये रिजर्व्स भी बढ़ते चले जाएंगे, राइट? नोट इशूड, अगेन इट्स अ लायबिलिटी, दैट्स व्हाई it's there on the liability side. Schedule is there on the liability side. We can see here that the CBDC, wholesale and retail have now also start increasing, right? RBI is issuing the CBDC retail as well, here we can see. Then we do have the schedule of investment in subsidiaries and associates. So ये सब RBI की subsidiaries and associates है जो आपको पता होने चाहिए. Broadly we can see that there is no change in any holding of any subsidiary or associate, right? ये सारे P&L account related schedules आ गए, like interest income. So जो आपने obviously advances दिए हैं, loans and advances, उससे आपको income हो रही होगी, okay? So interest on SDF, interest on MSF, interest on loans and advances, right? ये सारी आ रही है, और उनमें foreign sources भी हैं, तो RBI foreign sources से भी earn करता है, right? So guys, broadly that's all from my end. Thank you so much for watching this video. वीडियो पसंद आया तो वीडियो को लाइक कर देना, चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर देना. और ये चीज़ यहाँ पे ख़त्म नहीं हुई है, बिकॉज दिस इज जस्ट अ की हाईलाइट. आई विल ब्रिंग मोर एंड मोर वीडियोज रिलेटेड टू योर एनुअल रिपोर्ट्स. सो स्टे ट्यून्ड. विल बी हैविंग अ लॉट ऑफ डिस्कशन रिलेटेड टू एनुअल रिपोर्ट. प्लस you can also let me know in the comment section if you need a detailed accounting and finance related video that can be helpful for your course. We do have a topic of basics of accounting and financial statements and ratio analysis. So I can bring a particular session from the point of view of accounting angle as well of the RBI's balance sheet, just like we have just discussed, right? So I can make it a bit detailed as well in some of the sessions. So do let me know in the comment section if you need such a kind of lecture. Okay, so thank you so much guys. Bye bye, take care.